I'm asking rhetorically, but why is no one bringing up that Fuentes has been going hard against Kirk? And in the last few weeks, calling him a traitor, Judas, goat, and shit. Look at the Groiper reply guys under his post. If the cops and media were serious, this is who they would give attention to. I mean, you can say that about me too, man. You can say that about like a person who is like overwhelmingly antagonistic to Charlie Kirk, and his audience is antagonistic to Charlie Kirk. Like that. The right wingers are never going to blame the right anyway. But the reason why I showed you this stuff is because, yeah, Nick Fuentes. Here is Zay Squirrel saying Nick Fuentes, a Nazi Frankenstein monster created by conservative alt-right, is now turning on his masters and vowing to destroy the GOP while harassing Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro. As Malcolm X would say, the chickens are coming home to roost. So,
Ben, it's great to see you. Why did you give a 45-minute speech about me at Stanford, and you won't even look at my direction?
Hey, he's with his kids.
Come on, I'm right here. Hey, let him cross, man. Let him cross. I know you're with your family, but I can't.
Yeah, I mean, this is what he was doing. He's done this for quite a while, as a matter of fact. He made a big name for himself by like doing this at Turning Point USA events. So there is a lot of animosity from the far right as well. I think claims of the shooter being related to a pro-trans message should be held extra scrutiny given the recent attempts to ban trans people from owning guns. Yeah, I mean, it's just, here's another problem with having charlatans in charge, biased charlatans in charge that are willing to drop all notion of conducting a serious investigation, right? There are a lot of people, I think, that are saying that he was going to turn on Israel any moment now, and I don't think that's there's evidence for that at all. And I think there are different reasons as to why some people are saying it. Some people are saying it because they just want to like shit on Israel and they think everything is Israel. He already did turn on Israel. You're wrong. No, he didn't, man. Shut the fuck up. Oh my God. Every now and then, these guys speak out of both sides of their mouth all the time. You guys are so fucking stupid. You don't know these people as well as I do, okay? You haven't tracked their behavior as well as I have, I guess. Please stop. The notion that this guy was actually anti-Israel is so fucking weird. He has said in a couple different instances, like marginally correct statements. That's it. That's it. I think a lot of you want to. He called him out multiple times. Oh my God, it's like Trump. It's Trump. Is Trump anti-Israel too? Any day now, he's going to turn on Israel. Are you guys that fucking stupid? He has literally consistently said it's not a genocide. It's not a genocide. It's not a genocide. Palestine isn't real. Palestinians are not real. Famine is fake. He's just trying to manage the overall anti-Israel sentiment in his base, okay? That's why he's on a delicate tightrope. It's the same with the Epstein stuff, okay? It's the same shit with the Epstein stuff. He on the one hand, literally got the boss call from Trump, and he turned around and said, I'm done with the Epstein shit. I'm never going to talk about it. Okay. But also simultaneously, he kept repeating, we should release all the Epstein files. Nah, dude, you're wrong. Just send me the fucking links and I will send you 1 million extra links of Charlie Kirk dick riding Israel into oblivion. There's no evidence that Israel killed Charlie Kirk. What we do know is a hyper violent transfer. Okay. Like I understand why people want to believe that this was Israel. And that Charlie Kirk was like seemingly turning on Israel. And that's the meta right now. That's the narrative right now.
Of course.
Fox News just aired a segment. Charlie Kirk's legacy of supporting Israel with special guest Benjamin Netanyahu, who calls Charlie an extraordinary friend. He says Charlie wrote him a letter in May declaring one of my greatest joys as a Christian is advocating for Israel. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is coming from the original like InfoWars guy. The original InfoWars guy a couple months ago saying like, I've heard that Charlie Kirk is afraid of his life if he were to turn on Israel, okay? That's where this started. That's where these suspicions started. There was another Groiper guy who went viral as well, also a couple months ago, where he said, like, Charlie Kirk is going to turn on Israel and then Israel's going to kill him, okay? But
Team Civilization here.
If you look at his interview with Ben Shapiro from 2 fucking days ago, so 1 day prior to him getting shot and killed, you will probably develop a better assessment on his opinion on Israel than whatever random clips that were put together in an effort for these guys in an effort for these guys to at least like make themselves appear more palatable to the populist right who fucking hate Israel. Okay? Yeah, Israel's not starving Gazans.
Being lied to, and I hate being propagandized. And this weekend, there was an all-out propaganda campaign trying to make it seem as if Israel is intentionally starving the people of Gaza. I hate being lied to, especially by the media networks. They lied to us about COVID. They lied to us about the vaccines. They lied to us about open borders. They lied to us on Hunter Biden laptop. Joining us now is Rabbi Walicki, a great friend.
Really pure propaganda, as you said. Approximately $500 million just from selling aid to the people of the Gaza Strip since the war has began. So Israel has realized for a long time that this is a problem, because while the aid has to...
Anyway, I posted a link to watch all the videos and tell me he wasn't calling him out. You're wrong or too afraid to admit it, in which in the later case, I don't blame you. You said post the links. Now watch all the videos and tell me you disagree. We both know I'm right, and I don't blame you for also not wanting to be hit by Israel. Are you fucking stupid? You think Charlie Kirk is anti-Israel, and you think me, this guy, is actually afraid of calling out Israel? Are you lobotomized? Are you a victim of a lobotomy that you were unaware of? What the fuck are you saying? Then watch the videos. What do you mean? The video is him literally saying that Israel's not starving people. This was at the peak of Israel starving people. What the fuck are you talking about? I guess I'm getting rage baited or something. That's not the video I sent you. What is the video you sent me? Charlie Kirk talking to Ben Shapiro? Is this the one? Watch all 3 videos and tell me he wasn't turning on them. Oh, okay. Okay, 1 minute and 49 seconds. Let's take a look at some of the, and I already explained this to you. Tim Pool does this all the time. Ben Shapiro doesn't do this because obviously he's like even more pro-Israel than these guys. But independent media is much more aware of the audience's attitude, okay? And therefore, they have to manage a situation that is an 80-20 issue for their base, okay? Charlie Kirk knows that a lot of his fans fucking hate Israel. At the Turning Point USA conference, he literally saw it. He saw it in real time, okay? Let's take a look at these clips, but not the one where he conducts an interview with Ben Shapiro.
Epstein with his little friend Ghislaine and Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who was obviously a spy of the Israeli intelligence agencies, but there was something else going on here. Epstein was not some sort of whiz kid hedge fund manager. Epstein was playing a part. Epstein was a LARPer. Epstein was cast for a specific role, and he played it really well. The sweatpants and the Harvard jacket, the kind of disheveled hair, looking as if he was so smart and above the clouds that he was doing advanced mathematic equations on the back of napkins. But if you actually go into some of the videos of people that met with Epstein at the time, they said he was awfully unimpressive when it came to finance and markets and economics. And it's nothing new that if you're in the intel agencies, you want to try and get as much blackmail on powerful people as possible. Easy, not hard. And this is no longer just speculation. First of all, the evidence that shows that Epstein was a creation of either Mossad, Israeli intelligence, American intelligence, Saudi intelligence, or maybe he was just a hired gun.
Yeah. So what's really interesting about this is a correct assessment that Charlie Kirk is engaging in. What's even more interesting about it is that after Donald Trump told him to shut the fuck up about Jeffrey Epstein, he literally relayed that information to his own audience and said, I'm done talking about Epstein. The Patriots are in charge. Wait, the chatter is right. What are you talking about? Of course, there were moments in a sea of pro-Israel propaganda where a guy who has to fucking address real live crowds who are incredibly anti-Israel, especially because they're Gen Z, okay, is going to every now and then try to manage the situation. That's it.
He was just the guy that countries would go to and park a couple $100 million and say, hey, can you get one of the members of the royal family with a 13-year-old so we can get them to do what we want to do? Members of Congress are active.
Take the Ella song. Why are you dying on this hill? Oh my God. This is not a hill. You think this is a hill. It's my least favorite type of fucking argument. Okay. You didn't present a position. You didn't present a serious position. This is your point that you are presenting, okay, in your argument. And there are a million other points of evidence that I can present back to you, okay, offering minor criticism to Israel when you are unimaginably pro-Israel at every other moment is only done so you maintain some semblance of legitimacy in the eyes of your audience. Okay? That's it. That's one clip. I'm sure there's others where he's like said something as well. Literally 48 hours before he was assassinated, Charlie Kirk asked some critical questions.
Interestingly, which is, okay, Charlie, we've pushed back against the media on COVID, on lockdowns, on Ukraine, on the border, on so like maybe we should also ask a question. Is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, you know, that maybe we shouldn't believe everything the media says, because I know I've been conditioned to ask a lot more critical questions over the last couple of years. So, Ben, some people would accuse Israel of wanting to ethnically cleanse.
Oh, that's it? That's the clip? That's the clip? The Nelk boy said the same thing to Benjamin Netanyahu. Oh, some people have criticized Israel for doing ethnic cleansing. What do you think? Let's watch the full one now.
We want to see the maniacs of Hamas be defeated. So we've seen news this.
Wait, hold on.
Open an account. We want to see the maniacs. So we're on Team Civilization here. We want to see the maniacs of Hamas be defeated. So we've seen news this morning that, quite honestly, I'm a little confused by, and I was hoping you could navigate it and help us understand, which is that Israel bombed Qatar, which houses a lot of Hamas officials. What happened here? And if I were to introduce just the skeptical question, will this potentially endanger America's own interests in the Middle East? So please, Ben, help me better understand the situation.
By the way, one thing that I do take issue with here is that even if I'm open to Israel assassinating Charlie Kirk, I do not, and I will not stand for this fucking idiotic notion that it was because he was actually turning on Israel any day now. Okay? You are a fucking moron if you think this. Okay? And there are a lot of people who do feel this way, but like this stop being smug and learn analysis, man, is just like, even if it was Israel that did this, the notion that he actually fucking is critical of Israel is so wrong.
Israeli government are saying, again, it's all over the place, right? You have opinions all over. In your opinion, what would a good outcome 5 years from now be, and how does one?
This is the point where the video cut off. By the way, here.
In your opinion, what would a conditioned to ask a lot more critical questions over the last couple of years? So, Ben, some people would accuse Israel of wanting to ethnically cleanse. Some people in the Israeli government are saying, again, it's all over the place, right? You have opinions all over. In your opinion, what would a good outcome 5 years from now be, and how does one respond to the claims of ethnic cleansing?
So ethnic cleansing, the idea, presumably, that population movement is equivalent to ethnic cleansing. I think ethnic cleansing is a term that's been fairly recently coined to describe population movement during war. And the reality is that's been ongoing for literally all of human history. The idea that Israel is, quote unquote, forcing people out of the Gaza Strip, that is not the stated policy of the Israeli government. The idea is if people want to leave, they can, but they're not being forced to leave. Again, moving people out of heavily urbanized areas that are honeycombed with terrorist booby traps pretty much everywhere is not the same thing as, quote unquote, ethnic cleansing. And I think that ethnic cleansing is very often used as sort of a softer form of the genocide attack. The idea being that Israel is trying to kill everyone, which of course is not true. As far as your earlier question about what we believe from the media, one of the things that I find kind of astonishing in some of the folks on the right who are highly critical of Israel is actually the lack of the lack of skepticism when it comes to legacy media. Legacy media are radically anti-Israel overall. The New York Times can certainly not be accused of being a pro-Israel outlet. It'd be very difficult to make the accusation that the Associated Press, which has worked hand in glove with Hamas for years, or Reuters, that these are wildly pro-Israel outlets. And yet, when it comes to the reporting, it seems to be sort of the opposite. Ben, so the perception the legacy media is like owned by the Jews. And
I was going to say, Ben, come on. You Jews own the media, Ben. So, I mean, come on. As you can tell by all the wonderful headlines you guys get.
Well, I mean, dude, the accusation.
Wow. A sarcastic quip talking to Ben Shapiro about how negative the media is towards Israel. Does that strike you as a person who's anti-Israel, chatters? Or are you oblivious to how sarcasm works?
That we own the media has not prevented, the Daily Wire from employing people who radically disagree with me on all of these matters. I mean, I don't agree with Matt Walsh on foreign policy. Matt obviously is a major host over at Daily Wire, and that's just my shop. And I'm overtly pro-Israel. Right? I mean, I'm not making any bones about this. I'm a Jew and I'm a Zionist. I'm not going to pretend that to say otherwise would be absolutely silly. To suggest that some sort of atheistic Jewish person by birth who does not care about Judaism or Israel owning the New York Times means the New York Times is pro-Israel is to ignore literally every bit of coverage they have ever.
Yeah. They agree that the New York Times is not pro-Israel. Okay. Here they are saying that the most pro-Israel legacy publisher in the nation is actually not pro-Israel at all, because they every now and then accurately reflect on the events in an effort to maintain their credibility. I'm just saying, do you guys think that he's turning on Israel? Be honest.
Last question on this.
To ignore literal.
We're running out of time here, but just last question on this, Ben. I know this might be a tougher question, but BB.
Bro, that chatter is still saying watch the video. I am. I'm watching the video.
He said, quote, I didn't like he said this. I'll be honest. You can't be MAGA if you're anti-Israel. I don't like it for a couple reasons. How did you analyze that statement from BB?
I mean, and I think that there is the ungenerous way of interpreting that and then the generous way of interpreting that. So the ungenerous way is to suggest that you have to hold a particular position on every Israeli governmental activity in order to be MAGA, which of course is not true. I mean, you can disagree from the right or from the left with Bibi's policies, and you can still be plenty MAGA. I think the idea that Bibi is putting out there is that if you are taking Hamas's side against Israel in a conflict, it is very difficult to align that with the stated positions of the Trump administration or what President Trump himself is doing right now. I certainly is true.
You cannot look. I think you can have disagreements on Israel and still be MAGA. Obviously, you should be America first. But if you're pro Hamas, you're something darker, and we shouldn't put up with that. Ben, tell us about your important new book.
Chatter's talking to an imaginary Hasanabi that isn't actually watching the video. It's so crazy that like motherfuckers can literally do unlimited pro-genocide propaganda for 2 years and people still will turn around and act as though, yeah, propaganda says Charlie Kirk was not a critic of Israel. What kind of revisionism is this? Mohammed Hassan says, Charlie Kirk's question of Israel was because we've crossed the Rubicon where to not question Israel clearly reveals someone to be a propagandist, because Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson's critique of Israel, he had to adopt some of their talking points, the most mild ones, to avoid hemorrhaging his audience who have turned on Israel. He was a Ted Cruz, we must bless Israel Christian who championed the slaughter of Palestinians while repeating the most lazy Hasbara about Qatar, Islam, the Muslim Brotherhood, etc. He was not a critic of Israel. But it's crazy that just people would rather believe this notion. Like, even if you think this was like a professional hit, maybe it was Mossad, the notion that it was because he was going to turn on Israel any moment now is so insane to me. Okay? That's it. Look at it from Israel's POV. Even this clip doesn't sell me on him being anti-Israel.
Stuff. They were hundreds.
No one, I saw the full one, by the way. I saw the full clip. No one is saying Charlie Kirk became anti-Israel, but when the head of the largest conservative youth organization in America with chapters on over, and I like Jeremy Lafredo. I mean, he's literally been arrested in Israel for his reporting and was held hostage for an extended period of time. Over 3,500 high schools and college campuses starts openly questioning whether the Israeli government and the military are lying about their war and regional ambitions. It poses a serious challenge. If that conversation were allowed to continue, it could shift the next generation of conservatives away from automatic support of Israel. The reality of the matter is the only reason why Charlie Kirk is saying this is because he doesn't want to hemorrhage the rest of his base of support to the Nick Fuentes of the world or the Tucker Carlsons of the world, because those guys are openly anti-Israel, and that position is infinitely more popular now, especially amongst the youth. That's it.
Hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu is basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order? Was there a stand down order? 6 hours? I don't believe it. Israel's the size of New Jersey. When I took a helicopter ride from Jerusalem to the Gaza border, it's 45 minutes. Wow. 6 hours. They're live streaming the killing of Jews. Did somebody in the government say, stand down? That is a legitimate, non-conspiracy question.
That's it, right? If you watch the entire conversation with Patrick Bet-David, you would actually arrive at a very different conclusion, okay? This kind of conspiratorial question, or not even a conspiratorial question, unironically, this is a very valid question, as a matter of fact, does not imply that someone is anti-Israel. You have to look at the totality of their commentary to recognize whether someone is pro-Israel or anti-Israel at all. And if you look at the rest of the conversation, because I saw this clip also circulating around, this is a much older clip, as a matter of fact, and then the rest of the subsequent things that he has said, you will recognize that Charlie Kirk is whatever Donald Trump is, okay? He was whatever Donald Trump was or is. That's all it is. And Donald Trump is pro-Israel. Every now and then, he might sidestep because he has to maintain a grip of control over his base of support. It's real, though. I know, even if it is real, again, I'm not going to. Hassan hates Israel so much. Of course I do. What do you mean? What kind of question is this? Of course. Because I have a conscience. I have a heart. I have eyes to see and a brain to think. What the fuck do you mean? Of course I hate Israel. It is an apartheid state built around a ethnic religious supremacist ideology that is exterminationist at its heart, at its root. It is currently doing a genocide. Of course I'm fucking anti all of those things. Yes, I'm anti-Nazi as well. Is this a new stance, do you think? It's like saying, Hassan, why do you hate Nazi Germany so much? Why do you hate apartheid South Africa so much? What the fuck? Anyway.
Jewish.
And then the rest of it is him talking about secular Jews being responsible for... Yeah, I did. I wanted to debate Charlie Kirk on Israel. That was going to be the fucking debate. That's why it's so fucking insane to me that everyone is now running around and like that was what we were going to debate on. You understand that, right? In 2 weeks at Dartmouth University, I was supposed to debate Charlie Kirk on the issue of Israel and his unlimited support for Israel and the Trump administration's support for Israel and how much that actually is directly at odds with a lot of the foundational principles, quote unquote, of conservatism, whether it be free speech, cancel culture, whether it be isolationism, whether it be being pro-peace and not pro-war in the way that Donald Trump actually presented himself. That's why it's making me go crazy, because like I did look at his fucking assessment. I did look at his perspective on Israel for that reason. That's what the debate was going to be about.
Have been pushing the exact kind of hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using.
Yeah, Elon Musk said the same shit too. Do you think Elon Musk is anti-Israel? Any moment now, the Mossad is going to assassinate him because he's also said the same shit. Secular Jews have done unlimited open borders propaganda and anti-white hatred. That's exactly what Elon Musk said.
Against them. Now, I don't like generalizations. Not every Jewish person believes that. But it is true the Anti-Defamation League was part and parcel with Black Lives Matter. It is true that some of the largest financiers of left-wing anti-white causes have been Jewish Americans. They went all in on woke, and it wasn't just ADL. It was some of the top Jewish organizations in the country that have done that. In fact, we have seen this with the recent retreat of Jewish donations that are no longer going to be administered to colleges, right? Mark Rowan, Leon Copperman. Can we get that full list? It's very powerful. The part of the, so that's totally true. And by the way, Tucker Carlson reinforced.
Wait, you were going to take the pro-Israel side and debate against Charlie Kirk? Take a week off.
This. So I'm going to kind of, it was quite a day on the internet. Tucker Carlson was interviewing Candace Owens. We have Candace Owens coming up next hour. And Tucker Carlson mentions that Jewish Americans have primarily been financing cultural Marxist ideas. We said this, by the way, last week, and people came after us.
We were on top of it.
We actually said it in a different way. We said, I'm glad that Jewish Americans are reconsidering their financing of cultural Marxism. And people misunderstood it intentionally and slandered us as being anti-Semites. But listen.
You don't actually think Elon Musk would be forced to switch his views based on public pressure in the same way Charlie Kirk would be going in front of a young conservative all around the country law? That's a reach, though, law? No, man. These guys are anti-Semitic and pro-Israel. That's my point, okay? What the fuck? Is this new to you? He's an evangelical Zionist. That's it. On the one hand, they believe that like a lot of these secular Jews, these rootless cosmopolitans, are responsible for the death and destruction of Western civilization, okay? They are the ones who are responsible for the Great Replacement. That's how they think. That's how they feel. But also simultaneously, they have a theological justification to offer unlimited support to Israel. If you do not understand the complexity of I guess, evangelical Zionism and its unlimited support for the nation state of Israel as an apartheid state conducting a genocide, you will find yourself duped by clips such as this one. Because for many people, they go, oh, well, he's saying something that comes across as anti-Semitic here, so he must be anti-Israel. That's not. He is a fucking... He can be both of those things at the same time. That's what's so funny. Like, you saw 3 clips, and that was enough. He literally said Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them, and said that the philosophical foundation of anti-whiteness has largely been financed by Jewish donors. Yeah, he's a fascist, dude. Yes. Is this new? It's not, you know? Anyway, this guy literally, like I said, stated over and over again, Palestine's not real. It's not real. It's not real. You know, that attitude shift is not reflective of like any sort of broader trend or anything. Okay. This guy is still tweeting at me. Under the gun 1776. Oh, it's because he's a fucking right winger. That was the guy who I was cooking in the chat. It's because he's an anti-Israel right winger who was desperately coping with the notion that one of his favorite political content creators was just like an ultra Zionist. And in his moment of passing, he had to turn around and be like, nah, you don't understand. He's afraid of Israel. Bitch, if I was afraid of Israel, I wouldn't be saying fuck Israel every goddamn day, far before October 7 and every day since. Suck my fucking dick, dumbass. You don't even know. I was about to fucking debate him. I was about to debate him on his Israel support. God damn, these people are so fucking stupid. Yeah, you actually think he was a critic of Israel or Zionism? Seriously, get it together. Palestine doesn't exist. Islam is a sword of the left is using to slit the throat of America. 0 people from Gaza should be allowed to come to America, period. No, Israel is not starving Gazans. Kirk did not platform Tucker or Dave Smith because he had a change of heart. It was because he saw the tide turning amongst the Republican youth and had no choice but to try and co-opt the new anti-Israel movement on the right. If he didn't platform them, he would lose relevance. His job is to remain relevant and manipulate the conversation in the direction of Zionist and right-wing power players. That's his bread and butter. That's why he gains access to the White House. During his conference, he held a sit-down with conservative youth and used that dialogue to raise concerns over anti-Semitism in an effort to conflate anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism. Any criticisms he's made of Israel is simply so he can run cover for them. Kirk was a political performer, a grifter, a propagandist serving the most powerful people in this country. He should not have been shot in the neck in front of his wife and child. But let's be real here. He was a Zionist until his last breath. Yes, I do understand why it comes across as strange and a little bit heavy-handed that Benjamin Netanyahu and every fucking Israeli politician in unison started tweeting thoughts and prayers for Charlie Kirk literally seemingly the very moment that the first shot was fired. Okay? Benjamin Netanyahu was one of the first people around the planet that said, pray for Charlie Kirk. I was there. I saw it. We were all there. We watched it happen in real time. Okay? Is that strange? Yes. That's strange as fuck. It was, I think, and we can watch it. We can go back to the tape and review it if you want. It was fucking insane. He was one of the first people that issued, we must all pray for Charlie Kirk, who has been shot, a great guy from top to bottom. God bless him. Okay? That was at 3:02 p.m. Praying for Charlie Kirk. It was before. Benjamin Netanyahu posted that before Donald Trump even posted it. I'm pretty sure. I would be more inclined to believe that this was a Mossad hit if it suspiciously turned out that the guy who shot Charlie Kirk was actually a super free Palestine guy. Okay? That is an infinitely, that is a narrative that I think would make more sense than what these fucking guys are saying right now. Okay? Do you understand? You saying BB woke up from his good night's sleep just to type praying for XYZ right after the guy got shot? Yes. I'm confused. How is this not even more proof that they took him out before he switched his public opinion? They were able to martyr him and keep him as a pro-Israel voice. Why would BB even know about this and tweet about it faster than Trump? There is no indication that Charlie Kirk was actually going to any moment now become an anti-Zionist. There's a literal fucking conversation that he had with Ben Shapiro one day before he got shot and killed, where he is very clearly still running the pro-Israel narratives. What the fuck is wrong with you guys, man? Please take some medication or something. Holy fuck. Oh my God. I know people get really mad at me when I'm so short with people on this issue. Why are you avoiding the real positions that he has presented as opposed to the positions that you ascribe to him? There are even people who I respect who have fallen mercy to this kind of thinking. People do love conspiracy theories, though. You are 100% being brigaded to make you talk about this, and probably.